That sounded more like what it originally sounded like, which
Well,
is
you have some snacks with some drinks. There you go.
Yes. So
you go to a bar, there's always like pretzels there and stuff like
yes,
that. God knows
yes,
who's been in it, though. Man,
right,
have you ever
right.
done
No,
that, Joe?
I
You
just
ever
got
thought
back.
about that?
I just got back from a restaurant, and most of the facilities we went into sounded just like that. But and it's kind of reminds me of the Lakers in a lot of ways. But you are joining Gerald G. Glassford and Joe Soro on the Lakers Nightcap. I am your host tonight. Your host with the mostest, with no hostess, unfortunately. But we've been talking a lot about the current happenings with the LA Lakers and the NBA free agency period, as well as the draft. And I was going back and forth on what exactly I was going to discuss that I haven't already discussed. So I've been waiting and searching and reading on what's been going on recently since, let's say, our last show earlier today. And everything seems to point to nothing. So the Malcolm Brogdons are coming up now. The Kyle Kuzmas are coming up. The Lauri Markkanens have come up, but just not to the Lakers, of course.
The Kuzma is hilarious, Joe. That one's absolutely hilarious.
Well, I'm trying to. I stay off Twitter. I mean, I'm on Twitter when someone messages me, and Intel. I'm trying to train here, but I mean, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I guess I can have a reprieve here because it is the holidays coming up here. But after the 4th of July, after the 4th, I'm not having any more drinks. But going back to what kind of the current happenings right now is there is a lot of just nonsense that are going on, and I've scoured the internet to see if there's something out there that can bring in some hope here. I'm not a pariah on Lakers ball right now, but I am. They are feeling my wrath right now. The last time I was upset like this was when the Lakers signed Timothy Mozgov. It's almost crazy how that changed everything. And I feel the same way. I feel this downward trajectory that the Lakers are going in. And I've been pleading and trying to figure out a way to not to see the light, but I can't, because every time I do, some other news comes out and gets worse. If it's not the fact that the Lakers are focused more on a non-NBA player to draft on their team, there's also more coverage on that player than coverage for guys that are actually going to contribute to this team for the foreseeable future. And also, and by the way, Gerald, I am not getting jack squat on the chat here on our thing here. What the hell is going on with this thing?
Well, you didn't log in. You logged in as you. You didn't log in as.
I didn't log in. I logged in with your link, and there's nothing showing over here.
No, you're just a guest. You're just a panelist.
All right.
So you gotta open up a window if that's the case. Since you're just a panelist.
No. It shows when I'm a panelist.
Yeah, because you're a panelist.
It shows when I'm a panelist. Right now,
Intel Wild says 3 shots in 3 minutes, and we're just getting started. Truly appreciate the kind $50 super chat.
All right, I'll be right back. Hold on the fort. Hold on.
It is Nightcap with Joseph. Intel, you're amazing, my friend. Thank you again for the super chat. Truly appreciate it. It always helps us out here on the channel. Yes, Oscar, I agree with you. The Bus family needs to sell. Obviously, problem. And I talked about it with Joe before we went on the air when he finally got around to getting here. And I asked, because he asked what we're going to talk about tonight. And just with Bron signing a 2-year deal, 2nd-year player option, maximum $104 million. They may tweak it out a little bit later on to save a little bit under the cap, but looks to be about 104 and change, whatever. Also, as well, just want to make sure there's a no trade clause to let you know. So I believe he and Bradley Beal will be the only players having a no trade clause in their contract. So there you have it. He can't be traded away from Bronny unless he has to. So he has full control. Does this bother you in any way, everyone? your thoughts. He has all the sway over the Lakers organization. But the problem is the organization right now, they need more. And we've said this on several shows. The inactivity by Rob Pelinka in order to improve this roster, it is concerning because the teams at the very top of the Western Conference that finished last year, for the most part, made improvements. Denver, KCP is going to hurt them. They haven't really replaced him, but still, when you got Jokic and Murray, if you got a healthy Jokic and Murray all season long, you've got a good chance of having a good season. Big Mike, thank you again. Happy 4th. Is it Kuzma time? I will say this, Big Mike, and thank you again for the super chat. It's just so funny, the irony in bringing Kuzma back, what you would need to do, because there would obviously ask for a first to bring Kuzma back. And the irony in bringing Kuzma back when we sent him out as just an additional piece for the Westbrook trade, to me is hilarious. That what you would need to bring him back onto our roster. Mind you, he's been playing well. Still a volume 3-point shooter that's not really good volume. He's not really an accurate 3-point shooter, but I'm sure in the mindset of playing for a challenging team could try and ramp up his defense, because you got to remember, Kuzma started out as a matador on defense. He was absolutely terrible on defense, but during the bubble year, 2019, 2020, he found a way to go ahead and improve his defense where he became adequate defensively. He became, and sometimes situationally, pretty good defensively. He worked hard on that end of the floor to become an adequate defender. So he hasn't really needed that in the past couple of years, Big Mike, but if he gets away from the Washington losing mentality, you never know. He may bring that fire back. But man, just the irony in bringing him back when he was just an additional piece that you sent out for one of the worst, if not the worst, in my opinion, it's the worst Lakers trade of all time. Maybe the worst Lakers acquisition of all time. I know that Timofey Mozgov, Luol Deng, we talked about today on a couple occasions. Joe's already touched on it already. The Russell Westbrook is actually even worse as an acquisition because of how much it's cost us with players and draft choices on top of that. So, Joe, Big Mike was asking happy 4th, and happy 4th to everyone out there. Hope everyone has a safe and fruitful weekend. Enjoy the fireworks. Be safe. But, Joe, is it Kuzma time once again? The irony of Kyle Kuzma being offered back to the Lakers when he was just a side piece out in the Westbrook deal, and bring him back, and you would have to get a first probably in order to go ahead and get it back, would be hilarious. I would not stop laughing for like 10 minutes. It would just be hilarious, Joe.
You're saying that if they were to get Kuzma, they'd have to give up
draft. They'd have to give up a 1.
Yeah, no. The Lakers.
Washington would ask for a 1.
No, Lakers. Washington can suck a egg. There's no draft capital going out anywhere. Sorry, I'm not. You're not doing that for anyone other than a megastar. I don't know any megastars here at this point. Where the Lakers aren't getting any megastars. Trae Young they're gonna want at least five, probably 7 first-round picks for him, which is why I think he'll probably stay in Atlanta. I just don't see any benefit in looking at a Kyle Kuzma and having to give them another draft pick, which they shouldn't have even given. They should have never given any draft picks for Westbrook, even in that trade. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but again, you have Rob Pelinka running the show over there, and he doesn't really think too much. So I'm gonna take 3 shots here, folks, for intel, and also
3 minutes.
3 shots in 3 minutes. I am gonna do a tequila shot for my boys in Australia, Mark especially Xbox, because he was talking about the tequila shot. And then
I don't think they're going to get 2 firsts for Kuz. I don't think they're really going to get 2 firsts for Kuz, Frank. But you can ask. I mean, remember Alex Caruso, as Joe is showing the drink there. Remember, Alex Caruso was being supposedly bandied about by Chicago on draft choices, and saw what happened there.
Yeah. So here's to not doing that deal. This is tequila for the Aussie boys. Xbox, Mark, Sports Baby, Jeremy, this is for you guys.
Don't forget Intel. Is that coming up next?
Intel gets 3.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do today, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to have Captain Morgan for the last 2.
Okay. Darren, Torian Prince, he signed with Milwaukee earlier today on a minimum deal. Of course, reuniting him with his favorite coach, Darvin Ham, who's an assistant coach now in Milwaukee. I would probably say no, that wouldn't be a good idea, Darren. But that's just me. Frank says that's the Bulls, though, and they're dumb front office. So, yeah, maybe Kuz wouldn't go that high since they're Washington. JY Hen says Rob is the guy from Michigan that told C-Web to call that timeout in the National Championship game.
And what are you talking about? My audio is knocking. Is it knocking?
No, you sound good.
Yeah, I might have hit the I might have put the bottle on the ground.
Yeah, you're hearing the bottles on the desk. Yeah. And yeah.
Number 3.
Cool, bro. What about you as GM? General Mills cereal, maybe, but definitely not GM the Lakers. And congratulations on having Matthew Stafford give you, talk to you back on that. Another Intel Wild super chat. Cannot thank you. We're humbled by your gracious gifts to us, my friend. Truly appreciate it. He said, now 3 shots in the next 15 minutes. Everything I'm asking, I've already drank myself, so I feel you.
All right. I'm going to wait 12 minutes. And then
it's a good thing I'm controlling the boards.
Let me know, guys, when in the next 12 minutes. Remind me, please. If I forget, I forget. It's on you. Just tell me in 12 minutes, and I'll take 3 shots and before the 15-minute mark. So I was on Lakers Ball, which is my home base for Laker Talk, my original, well, not my original, but my home now. And they put up with my craziness. That's why I love them. And a lot of the patrons there believe that Bronny James has a NBA body and has potential. And they firmly believe that we're the ones who don't believe he's going to be good are going after him. I'm not going after him. I'm going after management, ownership, and LeBron James. I'm not wishing ill will on Bronny James. That's a stupid thing to do. I don't want him to fail, but he will fail because he's not an NBA player. And I'm not going to look at him any different if he fails. I'm not going to sit here and say, I told you so. I'm not trying to one up anybody here. I'm not trying to be right. It's what it is. And those same friends of mine on Lakers Ball, after Timothy Mozgov was signed, were saying, well, maybe, he might be, he might work out. No, guys, no. This is a charade. This is a joke. This team is not focused on winning championships. They're focused on, well, we suck. And Rob already kind of laid out his uselessness right out of the gate, saying, well, it's much difficult now to have transactions now. Then why did Golden State replace Klay Thompson with like 4 players so quick? How did Philadelphia revamp so quick? Well, Joe, they had cap space. Well, what happened when you had cap space? What'd you do? You did nothing.
And Golden State still managed to stay under that second apron, which they just got back under.
How come the Celtics can give another guy a supermax and then give another guy a near max deal? What? They're the only guys that know how to work the system? Aren't you a former agent? Don't you know how to work this? Oh, I know why. You suck at your job, and no one likes you. So no one's willing to work with you. Anyone that works with you wants to fleece you. And the only guys that you're going to be able to get are guys that no one wants, and then now you can't really get anymore. Guys like Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, originally I thought LeBron was going to do a 3-year contract. And I thought, well, go after Zach LaVine, see if there's something happens with that, because his contract ends the same time the 3-year contract with LeBron would have ended. But LeBron's only playing.
Well, I'm just going to say, he could theoretically, in that second year, opt out for that second year and just sign another 1+1 at a higher rate for that second year, Joe, because it'll be elevated because of the cap being elevated.
Okay,
theoretically he could make more than the 3 years 162 we were talking about.
Let's talk shop here. Lakers don't make the playoffs next year. What do you think LeBron's going to do?
He might bolt.
Bolt where? No one wants this guy.
Ring chasing?
No one wants to come work with this guy. If he wants to take a minimum, yeah, sure. Maybe a $10, $15 million contract, sure. But will you do that with his son? Will you do that with his son having a 4-year contract, 3-year guaranteed contract, and a team option on the 4? How many second-round picks that are picked 55th get that kind of contract? I have to look that up. So you keep telling me potential with a guy that's the son of your number one guy while your team is sucking ass. And we're blaming leave Bronny alone. The hell with Bronny James. I'm not talking about Bronny James. I'm talking about Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, and LeBron effing James. They're not concerned with winning championships. They are concerned with getting what they want so they can feel good. That's it. That's all they're feeling. And why should we support this? A lot of people are going to support it because they do like the story, right? Which is only making things more clear that I don't belong in this era of sports. I think my era passed. My era died probably right around 2015, probably even earlier than that, especially when it comes to other sports. Football, I was fortunate to watch the last of the great football games between 2000 and 2010. I saw, in my opinion, the greatest rivalry in terms of physicalness that you'll ever see in football history, which is the Steeler-Raven rivalry of the 2000s.
Well, let me go ahead and just, if I may interject here, I'm going to put something that Bobby Marks posted earlier today in regards to this. Now, let's give the caveat here. Several teams in the second round were trying to negotiate two-way deals to save money on the cap with the second round picks. But in case of Bronny James, the Bronny James contract, according to Bobby Marks, has the standard second round pick exception. As far as the second round pick exception, as far as I guess they get a waiver on the cap there. So you see the numbers as they pan out over the course of 4 years. He said it's the same length in years that 3 picks in the 50s signed for last year. The second round pick exception does not apply against the cap until July 31st. Again, that was last year. Now, some of the teams this year, as we heard during the course of the second round of the draft, as high as 35, were asking the players that they were going to draft to take two-way deals to save money. So whether or not they do, we'll wait and see, because not all of them have signed or committed yet. But we'll see how the second round signees lay themselves out to know exactly whether or not it was something smart or not so smart by Rob to do, Joe.
Whatever. I'm going to take my 3 shots now. I live a great life, yet you guys are all depressing me. Here's shot number 4.
As Moses Jones says, just a reminder, Fred VanVleet was not drafted. Same for John Starks. Same for Austin Reeves. But the thing is, osmosis, and again, I've said I'm not as mad as I once was, knowing that this was going to happen. I've been saying on this show for quite some time that was going to happen, and it did happen. I'm not as mad because, again, 9 out of the last 10 number 55 picks have not made a significant contribution in the league, as Joe is drinking right there. Aaron Wiggins is the only one out of OKC to get a second contract. So, with that said, the odds are most likely against Bronny James. If he makes it, great. It's found money, literally and figuratively. If not, then it's just going to go with the statistics that bear themselves out. But if there's a 56, 57, or 58 pick from this year's draft that hit, or an undrafted player that hits and hits well and makes a contribution, that's when I'm going to remind everyone out there that we picked Bronny James ahead of that individual. If they're not, then okay, that's fine, whatever. But again, I'm just waiting to see if there's another Trace Jackson Davis that gets picked 57th, Joe, that becomes a rotational player in the league, and while Bronny James may not.
The semantics in this. By the way, Tony Egg, salud. Keep the soprano lines coming, Tony Egg. You're greatly needed, especially right now. So number 6.
That's a good question. Who's my new Darren? Because I was one of the first people to suggest last year. That was actually in November, I think December, when I started throwing out DeJounte Murray's name as a possibility, and everybody else jumped on it and saw what happened there. Zach LaVine, everybody that the Lakers are looking at or gets talked about has something negative attached to them. With Zach LaVine, it's health, as Joe. With Grant, it's his contract. That is a good question. Markkanen, you guys can pray about Lauri Markkanen and Kessler all you want, but there is no way Danny Ainge is not going to ask for those 2 first-round picks and not ask for them and get them. I just think that if Markkanen is really out there, somebody's going to have to give up more than just 2 draft picks to get him, and some really, really good assets in order to get him. You know what? Let me think on that one, Darren. Let me think on that one, because there's some players out there probably that right around middling teams that may be approachable under the right circumstances. I know that Atlanta, and I talked to the Legend 350 earlier today. I know that people have talked about trying to get off Capella, and also as well DeAndre Hunter. Take from that what you will. Intel Wild says, and thank you again for the awesome super chat for Joe being a good sport.
Okay, I'm done talking about the draft and talking about what's already coming. So
Okay.
let's talk about what transaction are the Lakers going to make here before free agency is done. What is going to be the transaction that makes us go ooh or nothing? Is there something that's going to happen? I believe there will be, because they need to shed salaries. They need to shed players, because they're starting to get impacted here. So being what we are, being what Rob Pelinka is he going to trade a couple of the bottom feeders for a second round pick? What's going to happen there? How is this team going to get rid of the dead weight so that they can sign everybody that they want and play everyone that they want? And are they going to be able to find someone to work with Anthony Davis down on the block? Or are we sticking with Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood?
Well, again,
I would like to discuss that. I want someone to explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old, how the Lakers are going to play better next year when they don't have anyone playing in the front court other than AD of any significance?
Good question. To give you an answer, Darren, I'm just throwing out names out there. Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, if you can get them at a package deal. I know Laker Tom has been infatuated with Kelly Olynyk. If you're able to get those guys in a package deal, it's about $35 million. I mean, you could do worse. Doesn't make me jump for joy, but
you're not getting those guys without draft capital. You cannot give up draft capital for anyone other than a superstar.
Okay.
And there's no superstars available. And what is the 29th and 31 going to do for anybody?
You're banking on a post AD LeBron meltdown for years is what you're banking on.
It's already happened. Well, so what are they going to do in 5 years? Maybe Genie sells the team by then. There needs to be a campaign. We need to start putting up leave Genie, just like how she put stay Dwight or D12. Someone needs to put leave and put those posters everywhere downtown before the scumbags spray paint it and tear it down in that area. That's another reason why no one wants to come to LA, by the way, too. Because it's a shithole run by shitheads.
It's okay, Darren. As far as but it's not going to move. There's no deal out there, I think, that puts the Lakers in that upper echelon right now. I don't think Zach LaVine. We're talking about maybe puts you a spot or two above what you were before, but that gets you to fifth, to sixth. Is there a deal out there, Joe, that can get you in the range of OKC, Denver, Dallas, Minnesota?
No. They don't have enough assets.
We do still have second round picks, Frank, I believe, still available to us.
And no one cares about our first round picks, let alone our second round picks.
Yeah.
God, it's just a terrible show, isn't it?
Well, we're trying to provide realism, and the problem is it always gets confused with negativity. But you want to tell people the truth and how you really feel. You don't want to hide things or anything like that. And the answer is still no. Cool World, by the way, he doesn't want to talk to you. Intel Wild just said for $30 more, Joe, 2 more shots in 10 minutes.
All right, remind me in 5 minutes.
You got it. I'm going to destroy this man's liver.
That'd take a lot more than a few shots to destroy my liver.
You know what? Okay, I said this the other day off camera to my friend John Orlando when we did the State of Pro Wrestling. I said, when he dies, I know that wrestlers are always asked for their brain, the study for the brains and all that, for CTE and all that. In Ric Flair's case, make sure you get the man's liver for study to figure out how that thing maintained it.
That is the greatest. That is the greatest filter next to maybe Keith Richards.
Exactly. I have to remind myself that Keith Richards is still alive, and whatever that thing is standing up in the middle of combat.
Well, I saw him act in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I think it was Stranger Tides. I think.
Yeah.
And that guy was amazing.
Yeah.
He was amazing. I was sitting there watching him talk. And I'm just like, where have you been, Keith Richards? Why weren't you an actor? He was phenomenal. I loved it. And as far as Ric Flair is concerned, I saw a picture of him and his daughter, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like she was doing one of those Fitness America.
She's the one that's married
shows.
to Conrad Thompson.
Yeah, which is funny because Conrad looks like the size of a house, and she's ripped to shreds. I guess opposites attract at that point. But there was a picture with her and Rick. But Ric Flair looked good. He looked really good. Looked tighter than even when he was playing. I know he was wearing a shirt, but Ric Flair, you're gonna have to literally murder him to kill him. So salute to hey, I'll
Yep.
take a shot right now for Ric Flair too.
Portland's actually Darren. I think it was Darren. Oh no, Frank mentioned Robert Williams. Man, that's a huge risk. I know they've got centers galore now there in Portland. They want to free up time for Klingon. Ayton? Would you take Ayton? How much is he worth right now? Ayton. Because it's going to be Klingon or Ayton. And Klingon's the guy that they want to give time to in the rebuilding year.
The hell are you guys talking about?
Frank mentioned Robert Williams, the third.
No.
That knee is just,
No. I'd rather take a shot at the only reason why I'm taking shots for Jeremy Grant and Zach LaVine is because of draft picks. See, I can't even talk now.
He's only 20. He's only 12 million, Joe. But those knees, man, knees.
I'm taking on large contracts because I want draft capital.
How about DeAndre Ayton?
No, that guy's a coward and a fool.
Okay. I
don't want that guy anywhere near a LeBron James because we already have enough slappies on this team.
Okay. I'm just saying because they'll want to get rid of Ayton. Portland is going to get rid of Ayton because they want
to get rid of Ayton. Then you're going to have to take our trash and give us at least 2 first-round picks.
I'd ask for 2 first-round picks for Grant because that's a bad salary. That's the worst, one of the worst salaries in the NBA. Although
Ayton would cover a huge hole, but
after this free agent,
he's a black hole in terms of personality and drive. And I don't know. Beggars can't be choosers. So here's number 2, Intel.
You can see his eyes are getting droopy. You guys are going to kill the man. But I appreciate the kind super chats. It is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Lakers nightcap with Joe Soro.
Luckily, I had a good meal.
Yes.
Luckily, I had a good meal. Oh no, I'm dizzy. The room's spinning a little bit. But
not quite as
I'm here to entertain. So do what
he's at home, cool, bro.
I'm at home. I can go sleep after the show.
Yeah, he's gonna crash.
I'm gonna crash. I'll be done. By the way, I got to get up early tomorrow morning too, so it'll be good. I can get my 7 hours in.
We'll just do an hour tonight. How about that?
That'll work. What are we at right now? We're at
33
minutes. Good. So I don't know where this DeAndre Ayton stuff came from.
I'm just throwing it out there because again, Klingon is out. You drafted, Joe, a 7'3" guy to man your middle. You've got a 7'1" guy already there that's obviously not met to your liking.
So Portland already got tired of him?
Yeah. I mean, when you draft Donovan Klingon, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll do this. I don't think Portland's going to do it though, but DeAndre's only making $34 million this coming year. So you can package Vanderbilt,
Vincent.
You can package Vanderbilt, Vincent, and then Cam Reddish. Does that come out to 30?
Well, let me go out. I'll put in the trade machine right now. Ayton's 34 mil, just to let you know.
Okay, good. So 34 mil. So let's do the math here. So for sure, I'm not giving up Rui, Austin, or anybody because we need those guys. So if they were willing to take Vincent, Vanderbilt, that's 22 million right there, and then Jalen Hood-Schifino, who's making just under 4, that would
still be 25. So you need 6
13,
more.
So 13. Hold on. So let's just do the math here real quick. Hold on.
You can't do a 5-for-1 deal, Joe.
How many can you do? How many players can you send over there?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically you can if it's done right away before the second apron kicks in. But it's about so Ayton's 34. You would probably have to give up one of the Rui Hashimuras or Austin.
No, I'm not giving up those guys. There's no point.
Okay.
There's no point. Okay. So between Hood Schifino, Vanderbilt, and Gabe Vincent, you're at $25.5 million. You need $9 more million.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
That's what I say.
You can add $3 million to that still, or the rules change on that?
I think the rules change on that. If you did, would you be willing to give up D'Angelo Russell if they gave you a first back?
Who's going to be a point guard?
Okay.
You cannot lose any significant players on this team because there's not enough already. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves are the starters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get DeAndre Ayton for all the trash and you make the contracts work and you get draft capital from that, then now you just plug in DeAndre Ayton as a starter at center with Anthony Davis, and then you can have Austin Reeves come off the bench, which is exactly what we need.
Well, you're talking about Simons. If you do Simons, Eric, that's a 25. That makes 59 million if you try to package those two out.
It's too much. Simons is going to be too much. The question, though, the reality of the DeAndre Ayton thing is he's only got one more year left after this year, so I don't think they'll be
that attractive. That's why I would think about it.
It's not. They're not that desperate. They're not that desperate to dump that contract, because next year, after next year's over, they'll have an expiring contract for $35 million. Then they can get something for him. And that's not likely something Portland's
probably not. The numbers don't match up.
Yeah. They're not that desperate to move DeAndre Ayton.
So yeah, again, there's just no player out there, Joe, that significantly moves the needle.
No,
for the Lakers.
No, there's no one.
I mean, the Levines, the Durants in the world, they just don't move you far enough.
What I was trying to focus on is the need. They needed specific positional players. Valanciunas would have been difficult to get, but I would like to think that there would be some way you could get him, being the fact that he's only getting paid $10 million a year, and that he went to the Wizards. That's the kind of player that makes a difference. So you look at someone like I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here now that I'm inebriated.
Well, KCJ, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I would just walk away from Grant. Grant, I think we need to walk away from Grant, because remember, you're on the hook for him till 2028, about between 25 and 35 million each year, and it grows. So if you really want to be stuck on a player who's declining ever since he got to Portland, that's up to you. But he'll be 34 and right around 34, 35 million in his final year, if I remember, because I looked at it last week when we were on the show here. Can we get off Grant, please? Because that's just a bad deal. That's a bad deal.
So we had the Celtics get someone like Derek White, and he made a significant difference in the last few years in helping the Celtics win a championship. Why can't the Lakers get someone like that? No one was expecting that. They were able to get Porzingis last year.
He was available, but remember, Boston had extra first-round picks on top of they had more first-round picks to play with than the Lakers do.
Mm-hmm. And why did they give up first-round picks for Russell Westbrook? And why aren't they trying to get contracts where they can accumulate some draft capital at this point if they're not going to win a championship? They almost are all in delusion that they think that JJ Redick is going to be the savior. They think Bronny is going to be this NBA player, and they're going to hope and wish that everybody plays better now or is healthy now, or the draft pick that they got this year will be that missing cog. They're delusional. Everyone is delusional. I don't know why. Acting positive is not really the discussion here. It's this team is just not built to win a championship. So what are we doing here? What are we
I
going
just
to
think
do as a fan base? What's our point in watching these games?
I think Dan Inspiration said it. I mean, it just comes down to the talent level. Even GMs, there's a talent level. Obviously, we've got one of the worst GMs in the league making decisions and player evaluations for our organization going forward.
So are we going to
That's
spend? Are we going to spend?
that's too bad.
Are we going to spend the majority of our time during the regular season being complete Debbie Downers?
Do you want to tell people the truth or not the truth? I mean, those Laker nations, those other channels of the world that love to spread that joy and optimism, they're feeding you a line of BS. That's why I started this channel, because I got tired of being fed a line of BS.
And everyone is okay with this? I know there's a few that aren't, but are you all okay with us telling you what we're watching versus hoping we see what we're watching?
I mean, unreal expectations, Joe. The Lakers fans have always had that. But that's what happens when you win so much. You always have unreal expectations, whether it's right or not.
Okay, let's talk the future a little bit then. Do you see the pressure building so much where Jeannie sells a team?
Do I see what?
Do you see the pressure getting so difficult to deal with at some point, maybe in about a year, 2 or 3, where Jeannie says, "Screw this! I don't want to live this kind of life. I'm selling the team."
No. No. I don't think so.
So she's going to be a masochist. She's going to just deal with it.
I think so. She may fire Rob at some point because the voices will get too loud, but she's not going to sell. I don't think she's going to sell. I want her to, but
who's she going to fire? Kurt Rambis. Who's she going to hire? Kurt Rambis' son?
It's all nepotism, my friend. So
nepotism is not the point. Forget about that. Everyone hires people they like or people they trust, friends and family. I get that part. But my question to those people are, what if they suck? Why are you hiring them?
I mean, she was making money when the team sucked before LeBron came.
We hired Ryan West, Jerry West's son.
Yeah.
Well, we were not complaining there because he did the job.
Saw how that worked out.
If you want to hire people based off of nepotism, that's fine. But just like being stubborn, right? If you're stubborn and you win, then you're right. If you're stubborn and you don't win, then you're an idiot.
Intel, stop it, man, please.
At this point, I'm gone, so I might as well. Good thing I had a good dinner.
Oh, that's funny. Intel, you're just terrible to him. It's still not the best one. The best one was the first time he got.
What the hell is Intel dropped tonight? Jeez.
100 and I think 40. I think. Yeah. KCJ, what's the latest news or rumors? People throwing around there as far as Kuzma being maybe a trade target. Jeremy Grant's name has been thrown out there as a trade target. Latest news is that the Lakers did hire as assistant coaches Nate McMillan and Scotty Brooks. Of course, you know that LeBron James signed a 2-year, $104 million deal, or has agreed to it. It's going to be signed on July the 6th. Does have a second-year player option and a no-trade clause. One of only 2 players in the league to have a no-trade clause, to my knowledge. Bronny James signed a 4-year deal, 4th-year team option for $7.9 million. And then the team itself, they're going to be playing their first game this Saturday. Hopefully, I'll be able to have it on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Right there for you to go ahead and catch 1:30 p.m. on ESPN. Intel Wild, thank you again. You're just truly awesome, my friend.
I gotta answer Pale Fox's comment.
Okay.
We don't think it's cool that we have an all-time great player in his final years playing with Sun a couple games before he goes to The G League?
Mm-hmm.
You guys really think he's going to go to the G League?
Well, let me ask you this, Joe, while you're still somewhat sober. A couple days ago, Mask Up on Twitter sent you this. Hey, Joe, I respect the show and your opinion, but one question. Let's assume you were LeBron. Are you not getting your son into the league? I know I would. It's nepotism, but I'm being honest, and perhaps you're a better person than me. So your thoughts, my friend, on if it was your kid, would you be trying to maneuver what you could to get him in the league?
I'm doing what Michael Thompson did a few days ago with his son. What's the best option for you? This is not about Bronny James. This is about LeBron James. LeBron James, this is about him pumping himself up in this moment. It has nothing to do with his son. And it's at the expense of us, the fans, the people that pay the tickets, the jerseys. For what? So that we can watch this thing. I don't care. I care about the Lakers winning championships. I don't give two shits about LeBron James and his son playing in the same court. And I don't think anybody should. I don't understand what you're getting out of that. What does it do? It doesn't do anything. If it was maybe the last game of his career, kind of like Kobe's 60-point game before he hung him up, yeah, sure, that'd be kind of cool to go out playing with your son. But the Lakers were desperate for talent, and all they thought about for 2 weeks is make sure we get Bronny. All I heard was that dipshit Rich Paul, don't draft this guy, don't do this, allegedly. Don't do this, don't do that. That's what they were focused on. When you're focused on stupid shit, you're not focused on the smart stuff. Does that make sense to everyone? Why are the Lakers in this predicament? Because they weren't thinking about the things that mattered. They were thinking about game one of the season and father and son playing, not winning championships. I would really like to really ingrain that in people's minds. A lot of people are just to shut that part of their brain down. And they don't understand what I'm saying. I'm not attacking the guy. I'm not attacking Bronny James. I'm attacking the people responsible for this charade. The Lakers should be focused on winning, not a father-son dance. And that is my gripe. And it was compounded by the fact that the Celtics just won their 18th championship. I am really pissed off that the Lakers are not up a championship right now. I really, really thought after 2020 that they were equipped to finally pass these guys, and they completely butchered it. LeBron James has a lot to do with it for campaigning the whole Russell Westbrook trade, and Rob Pelinka is an utter schmuck. He has no idea what he's doing. He should be fired. He should never step foot into a front office in the NBA again.
Well, before even Westbrook got there with has to be the worst Lakers trade ever. Rob was already dismantling the team from the get-go, and it started to go wrong right from there, Joe.
Yeah, and I remember, I believe Anthony Davis was on record after 2021. He said, run it back. Run it back. One of your leaders said run it back, but you decided to not listen to that leader, the one that actually did everything for you, the guy that's still doing everything for you. And now what did you reward him with? You rewarded him with Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood again. How is this guy supposed to play this year again like this? He's going to get beat up by Jokic. He's going to get beat up by Embiid again. Why? Why? All of a sudden, Anthony Davis doesn't know how to play against players, or Sabonis? Well, it's how you expect someone to play one-on-one with players that are really good at his position when he has to worry about the other guards not being able to handle anything. Backdoor passes, alley-oops. You think he's not frustrated?
Well, again, remember around that time, there was the Clippers. They finagled the deal that got them both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and now we can safely say that was a failed maneuver on their part, which that organization is still going to be continued to be paying for because OKC still has picks that the Clippers, have to give them, and SGA gets better and better while Kawhi gets more hurt, and Paul George is playing in Philadelphia, so that didn't work out. With the Lakers, yes, we might have overpaid for AD. Absolutely. I would agree with you all day long that we might have overpaid AD, but we did get that one title. So if that's the case and you offered me that deal again, I would pay for it every time if it meant a title. But it looks like, Joe, that we're only going to get one title out of LeBron and AD.
Yeah. Yeah, the Kawhi deal looked good at the time. The Celtics, the Clippers. The only difference is the Clippers are the Clippers, so that's just that's what they do. They wanted to make a splash. Kawhi's leg didn't last, and Paul George in 2020 in the bubble was more concerned about poontang pie than winning championships.
Tyrone is saying, "Are we rebuilding or competing?"
No.
If you heard the words of Rob Pelinka in his latest press conference, wanting to focus on youth, it would sound like it's both.
Youth, okay. You're going to develop youth for secondary and third-tier players. How are you going to win championships with secondary and third-tier players, even if they're good? This team needs teams other than there's only really one team that I ever saw that really didn't have a superstar, and some will argue that Chauncey Billups was a star and Ben Wallace was a star. I don't consider those guys stars. They were very, very good players. Same with Rip Hamilton. That's the only team I ever saw that won a championship with very good players with no great players. My assessment on players might be a little more strict than most. But to the 2004 team, and I believe because I was alive, I was only one, but the last team before the 04 team that was considered kind of very good players without a great player were the 1979 Supersonics. That team, the team that won that championship. So
how about
in the 46 years that I've been alive, there's only been two teams that have been discussed in that they've won a championship without an elite player.
Well, we mentioned that KCJ 24 earlier today as options. I know Zach LaVine's name has been out there. I mean, if we're going to take a big risk on a guy that's 29 with bad knees, you've got to send us something along with it. But he's a name out there that, if he's right, could probably be the biggest name that we could get that can make a big contribution to the team. Still not going to put us in that stratosphere with the other four teams, but he could make our team better if he is right, which is a big, very, very big if. I mentioned LaMelo Ball in the past, but LaMelo Ball, that's got to go sideways first in Charlotte, so I don't think that's happening yet there. I also know that Gary Trent Jr.'s name was brought up by Tyrone, I believe, earlier. That would be bad, but are you getting the Gary Trent that got buried in Toronto, or are you getting the Gary Trent Jr. that showed a lot of promise in Portland? I'm hoping for the latter.
You're not getting any of these players in a trade without giving up draft capital.
Well, so, GTJ, Gary Trent is a free agent.
He is?
Yeah. He's out there right now.
Hold
on. We talked about Kuzma earlier, Adam. I just think it's funny and hilarious that if we tried to ask for him back, to get him back here, he would probably take one of the first round draft picks. That's what Sir earlier in the chat, they're asking for 2 first round draft picks. He'll probably go for at least 1 to somebody that needs it, probably around the trade deadline.
Osmosis, I don't, there's no such thing to me as a semi-star. Either you're a star or you're not. Rasheed Wallace could have been an elite star, but he rolled with his talent, and that's the limit.
Reminds me a lot of Robert Horry in a way.
No, Robert Horry didn't have the talent that Rasheed Wallace did.
Sure?
Rasheed Wallace is when you build a power forward, especially Rasheed Wallace at that time. Rasheed Wallace was doing things that this era of big men were doing then, and he also had a post game. Rasheed Wallace had a lot of Randy Moss in him in terms of his focus. They had such immense talent, but they never really went all the way in because of their mentality.
Well, injuries also kind of hurt his career as well.
Maybe, but that the Pistons of 04, and from what I've done, from the research I've done, the 1979 Supersonics are the only teams in the 46 years that I've been alive where you didn't have a superstar on a championship team that we would consider a championship team. If you want to run it down, let's go. I was born in 1978, so you had the 78 title team, which was the Washington Bullets at the time, now Wizards. You had Wes Unseld, which was a great player.
His back at the end of his career, M-Easy, he did have injuries
but he was a great player, and they won in 78. Then you have the 79 Supersonics, and then 1980, you had Magic, Kareem. Then you had 81, you had Larry Bird. 82, Magic, Kareem again. 83, you had Moses Malone and Dr. J. 84, Larry. 85, Magic. 86, Larry. 87, Magic. 88, Magic again. Again, you could put Kareem in there as well. And then 89, you had Isaiah. 90, Isaiah. 91, 92, 93, Michael. Hakeem in 94, 95. And then the next three-peat with Michael from 96, 97, 98. And then you had 99 with Tim Duncan, 2000, 2001, 2002, Kobe and Shaq. And then 2003, Duncan. Then you had the 04 Pistons. Then 05 is Duncan and the Spurs. 06 with Shaq and Dwayne Wade. 07, you had Spurs and Duncan and those guys again. 08, you had Paul Pierce. You had Kevin Garnett. You had Ray Allen. Then, of course, now 09 and 10 with Kobe. And then 11, you had Dirk. 012, LeBron. 13, LeBron. 14, Duncan again. You had 15, you had Steph. 16, you had LeBron. 17, 18, you had Durant and Steph. And then 18, again, Steph and I said that 17 and 18, you had Durant and Steph. And then 19, you had Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, AD in 2020. 2021, you had Giannis. 22, you had, again, Steph. And then 23, Jokic. And then, of course, this year, 24 with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So, if you look back at history, like I just did, I try to go as quickly as I could, as efficient as I could, being drunk. I might have been a little bit more coherent in my discussion, but I thought I did pretty good considering I'm drunk. So in 46 years, you've only had 2 teams that have won championships without a star, an elite star. What are the chances the Lakers win a championship in the next 5 years, 6 years, once LeBron is gone, once AD is traded, whatever, without a star? That's what we have to
Well, let me ask. I know that DeMar DeRozan's name is still out there, as a viable candidate.
Okay,
people want to go and ask, what do we think about it?
DeMar DeRozan is not going to take a $5.5 million a year contract, and you cannot get DeMar DeRozan in a trade from Chicago without giving up draft capital. So DeMar DeRozan will never happen. Get that out of your mind. It's over. He might
Well,
have
he
not
just
even.
doesn't fit. It
He
doesn't
might have
fit
not
what
even
JJ
taken.
wants to do.
He might have not even taken the 12 for all we know. DeMar DeRozan belongs in Miami. If I'm DeMar DeRozan, I go to Miami. There might be a chance he goes back to San Antonio too. So, but I don't. He's not coming to LA.
He's a mid-30 scorer. He can score you 20 points a game, but he's a middle-aged scorer, can't play defense, and doesn't stretch the floor, which I guess belies what JJ Redick wants to do. JJ wants to space the floor more. JJ wants to throw up more threes. That's going to be hard to do if you've got a guy that needs touches that's a mid-range shooter, Joe.
Okay. So let's put that in comparison with what we have. So who's better as a role player on our team? Who's better than DeRozan? The answer is zero.
Gotcha.
The answer is zero. There isn't a player out there that isn't needed right now. That's a DeMar DeRozan or a Zach LaVine or a Jeremy Grant. Those guys instantly become the number 3 guys on this team in talent. Whether they're worth it or not, it's irrelevant. And the Kings are a good spot. Eric, that's a great point. The Kings could use a DeRozan. And I think he'd flourish there, especially right now with what's going on with Fox. Fox is not signing his extension. Maybe the Lakers can get lucky when LeBron retires.
With him, though, and Malik Monk, that's would they play well with each other? Because Malik Monk also is their guy coming off the bench right now.
Sure. Again, I think Sacramento will be competitive. I don't know how far they'll go this year, but I want to put a button on this tonight and say we're gonna wait for this to finally finish, whenever it does finish, and then I'm gonna count the days on when LeBron is gone. I want LeBron gone. I've never wanted him gone more than right now. Thank you for the championship. Thank you for bringing back some relevancy to this team. But LeBron is a 50-50 guy. 50% of the time, he's great. And the other 50%, he makes you want to choke yourself. And I can't stand it. I don't want to support a guy that's in the middle, because you can never be comfortable with him. He's a petulant child. And this whole thing is all immature in the end. You have petulant adults running the asylum. All the things that are going on in general, just in things in the college sports right now with the NIL, adults like Jeannie and Rob. You have adults that run things like children in charge, and children are running the business now, all because you had a bunch of greedy a-hole white hairs that got greedy, and then everything, and it seems like everything overcorrects. The CBA overcorrected and no one cared. And it's been slowly getting to this point. Slowly, it's been getting to this point. We never heard about the CBA in the 80s. We barely heard. I don't remember hearing anything about the CBA until Michael Jordan retired. After that, it was always the discussion. Why? So they can make things fair. Screw fairness. I want talent. If you're not talented enough, go do another job. I don't care about fairness. I don't care about equality. There's no such thing as equality. Equality is an illusion. It's an illusion. An illusion. My cousin, his son, he's like my nephew, just competed in a bodybuilding event this last weekend, and he won. And he's had genetics that I recognized the moment I saw him taking a bath when he was 3 months old, 6 months old. I'm like, that kid has genetics, the genetics of an athlete. You can tell sometimes. You've been around sports as much as I have. You know what you're looking at. I didn't have those genetics. And so, is that equal? Am I going in the corner going, oh my God, that's not fair? Yeah, maybe it's not fair. Yeah, but I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to demand to play. Like, oh, let's draft my son because I want him to have a career, even though he hasn't earned shit. Scoring 4.8 points at USC and barely playing. Yeah.
So now he's taking up a roster spot.
So he's taking up a roster spot in a position we're already overloaded in. We needed a big man, either through free agency or through the draft. Now, we have to pick the best player available. We've preached that. And they did pick the right guy at 17. And I don't know if they could have picked the right guy at 55, but God dang it, didn't they pick Zubac in the second round one time?
Yeah, but now he wasn't that high. He was like in the 40s.
That doesn't matter. He's a second round pick. Didn't Jokic get picked in the second round? If you guys are going to go through these moving the goalpost stuff, well, he didn't go that high. He's a second round pick. What difference does it make if it's 40 or 55? You have the 3-time MVP who got picked in the second round. And then you pick the guy who's a starting center in the second round. Don't tell me there isn't value there. Don't tell me there isn't value there. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm sick of it. You're making excuses so that you can pick your son who can't play in the NBA. He can't play, and you're going to see it. And I'm not going to say anything when it happens because I don't want to kill the kid. It's not fair. He wasn't born with choice in this situation. This is about LeBron James and the idiocy of a stupid organization run by morons. We're trying to win championships. We're supposed to win championships, not have a Salvation Army party. This isn't the Red Cross. This isn't St. Jude. This is an NBA basketball team, the number one basketball team on the planet in terms of popularity. 17 NBA championships. What are we doing? I heard, well, what about Giannis's brother in Milwaukee? Who the hell cares about the Milwaukee Bucks? Giannis is probably going to show you very soon. He doesn't care a lot about the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm going to be waiting for that, by the way. I'm keeping my eye on that. Something's going to happen in Milwaukee. The feel-good stories are over. I am done. You want feel-good stories? Go watch Netflix. This society is soft. It's pussified. It's pathetic, and it's seeped into sports. The one place I thought it wouldn't seep into because it takes men to play sports, but even these guys have been lilied. I have to hear excuse after excuse after excuse on information that's baseless. I have more information than you do. It's right there on the internet. It's right there playing every year. Don't tell me that they couldn't have picked somebody at 55 when this year's MVP was picked in the second round. And you traded away a starting center who was picked in the second round. And you picked a gentleman named Jordan Clarkson, who's had a very good career in the NBA. And you picked Nick Van Exel, who was a very good player in the NBA. So where do I stop? What, do I have to have 10 second-round picks for you to believe that you could have picked somebody there that mattered? Especially considering usually the second round, you can go a little bit towards need as projects. No, you picked another guard when you already had 8 guards. And you're sitting there insulting my intelligence with, well, no, he would have been drafted anyways. Fuck you. You're full of shit. If you said that to me in a personal setting, I would just go, you're done. You're out. I wouldn't trust you with anything because you're a liar. You're full of either you're a liar or you're stupid. Liars and stupid people don't work in anything productive. And believe me, I've run into a lot of those guys. The worst kind are insecure men. That's one thing the women got right. Insecure men, probably the worst disease to have on this planet is an insecure man. But liars and stupid people, yeah, no dice. And if you're going to sit there and insult my intelligence and tell me that this guy would have been drafted already, or he's got value because he has wide shoulders, get the fuck out of here, man.
And on that note, it is Joe Soro. Joe, can we at least have a happy 4th of July? How about that?
Well, we have to wait 45 minutes for that.
Okay.
I'm happy, folks. I'm very happy. I'm not upset right now. I'm giving you an answer, and I react in the moment, and then it's done. It's a signal to those who speak in a way that doesn't make sense, and it's why there are problems all the time. No one gets to the problem and fixes it because you're either afraid of confrontation, or you're wishful thinking, or you're too away from reality. Especially when you have history telling you otherwise. 2001, 2002, 2003. I'm sorry, 2021. See, the alcohol's hitting me. 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. We're almost at a half a decade. And we have 2 series wins. Two series wins. Not 2 finals appearances. 2 series wins with AD and LeBron James. All-stars, Hall of Famers, still playing well. 2 series wins in 4 years. And what do you do in what will be the 5th season in a row? You go get someone who doesn't know how to play in the NBA. You get no talent where you need talent. You have media that kiss these idiots' ass telling us bullshit. I am tired of bullshit in every walk of life. The reason why I have good friends, a good family, and a good life is because I eliminate bullshit around me. There's some casualties in the wake of it, but it doesn't matter. I can make a call right now. I have a friend in the Valley in LA. For those of you who don't know what the Valley in LA is, it's where they pushed all the poor people 100 years ago in LA. I can get into that story, but then Gerald might have a conniption fit. He knows the story. He knows how they divided LA, right? I can go there right now, spend the weekend there. That's the kind of friends I have, without a hesitation. There's a bed waiting for me when I get there, food, everything. Why? Because I take care of my people, I love my people, and I protect my people. And by protecting, you have to recognize problems. And a lot of times you got to recognize problems early. Because what happens when you catch cancer early, folks? You usually survive. What happens when you don't catch it early? You usually die. And what is the cancer building right now? The cancer of mediocrity keeps building and building and building, and everyone thinks, no, it's okay. It's okay. The next chemo session is going to help. The next chemo session is going to help. They're going to go get They got this experimental drug. His name is LeBron. The drug is called Bronny James. He's getting. It might be it. It might be it, folks. Yeah. Okay. Good luck. Gerald, do you want to shut this down for us?
Yeah. And on that note, I think unless anything happens tomorrow, I think we're going to go ahead and take a day off to enjoy with our families the 4th of July. Otherwise, if there is anything that does go on, we'll come up for breaking news and we'll have it here for you.
Pale, do you really? I'm sorry, Gerald. Pale, do you really want me to send you a Burrito Express? There are better burritos in my old stomping ground in Central California. Actually, we have popular taco trucks over there that have much better burritos than the Burrito Express.
Lucha Libre, best burritos I've ever had. Lucha Libre.
I'll have to check that out.
3 locations.
I'll have to check
3
that
locations. But on that note, I don't want to get into the Kobe court case. That's just that it is so divisive amongst Lakers.
Well, I want to talk to Jamie about that actually.
Yeah, that'd be great. I get more hate mail on that one, so can't wait.
Yay!
Can't wait till that happens.
I cannot wait to talk about that. Who's with me, guys? Jack went to what? 1 game last year?
I think the Memphis game. What was one of the Memphis games?
Yeah, I don't think Jack likes this team either, guys. I think there's been actual video of him saying, "Kobe's gone. I'm done." Kobe was the guy, man. He was the identity, man. Magic and Kobe, those two were they're the pillars, man. That's why I can't pick between Magic or Kobe as the greatest Laker, which is crazy because in a lot of ways, Jerry West is the greatest Laker. He killed it as a player. He killed it as a coach. He didn't win a championship as a coach, but he was a good coach. And wasn't as good as he probably could have been, but I thought he had value. I thought from what I've read, he did good things. But that's where we're at.
I think Intel might have passed out.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot more than 8 shots to get me out. Sorry, folks. I mean, I'll get droopy here, but I had a really big dinner, so I think that might have helped.
Darren says he had old fashions. He added some to his wine.
Oh yeah, stay away from the brown old fashioned Hennessy stuff. I saw my cousin literally be carried into the next room this last Saturday, drinking Hennessy. I kept telling her, "Don't drink Hennessy. That stuff is poison when you take shots. It's like drinking poison when you take the shots. Drink rum, drink tequila. It's much better for you in terms of recovery." Well, she didn't listen, and after I don't know how many shots, she literally had to be carried into the other room, and she slept for the next 14 hours. Literally 14 hours. Like I'm like, is she gonna get up?
And on that note, it is the Lakers fast break again. Probably taking the day off tomorrow, unless something comes up. We will go ahead and jump on if that's the case, but. Otherwise, we are wishing you and your family the safest and happiest of 4th of Julys. We'll be back on Friday, of course, to preview Summer League and any news and notes that comes up before then. Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
I hope we entertained you tonight. I got a little off the rails, but it felt good. I don't think I felt like I really ranted enough. The last few days, I think I've been quiet ranting. That was kind of the loudest rant I've done. And I hope the point came across well, guys. I hope you guys can understand more and more how my brain works and how I react to this stuff. And it's important. It's important. If there's something to learn from this is don't let money guide you to everything. Money is important, don't get me wrong, but don't let it define you. Don't let it affect your principles. And Just be real. Don't be a fake. Don't be a filter creating passive aggressive fool. Be real. Just, if you don't have the security in yourself to do it, then just don't try to make up for that with stupid crap and delusion. And I'm not, if you guys are hoping and want the Lakers to succeed next year, come on, guys. You know I want them to succeed too.
We both do. We all do.
We all do. I'm going to cheer for them to win every game. But I've done that for 4 seasons now. And it's the same things going on over and over again. Nothing's changing. They're just polishing the turds. They're not throwing the turd out. So I've reached my limit. I had said in the offseason last year that no one can complain anymore. Rob Pelinka has paid everyone. Now it's on the players. I just didn't know how bad the players were. And it just really pisses me off that the Celtics won. It bothers me every.
I knew it got to you. I knew it.
It's getting to me more and more. It's getting to me more and more. It's actually, it wasn't settled. I wasn't settled into it, but it's actually starting to settle in. And
I've known you for 2 years now, Joe. I can tell in your conversations, the way you could tell you were bothered by something, and I could tell that
I saw Bill Simmons' face earlier today on a video, and I wanted to punch that fucker in the face. I'm not happy right now with the Celtics winning the championship. I might have not been as negative right now if they had not won, but the fact that they went up one championship, I was really thinking we were going to get ahead of those assholes in my lifetime, and right now I'm starting to worry that it might not happen. Yeah, Darren, WKRP was a show, and I remember the guy that played the host. He would take
Howard Hessman?
Yeah, Howard Hessman. He would take a couple shots because that instant buzz, because usually I get a buzz within the first drink or first shot. It's kind of how my brain works too. You just kind of relax a little, and then you get into your zone.
I remember that Turkey Day episode. That Turkey Day episode was, at the time, it was hilarious. A lot of people it's one of their most famous episodes. Yeah.
See, I know him from Police Academy. I was too young for WKRP. My era is Married with Children. Married with Children. I did
Birth of Fox.
I was in love with Three's Company, even after the show ended. It's just one of those shows where Jack Tripper was my guy. But my defining show of my upbringing is Married with Children. That is my favorite sitcom of all time. I used to watch that every night at 11 o'clock and 11:30 before I'd go to bed.
Fox is only alive today because, in my opinion, Simpsons and Married with Children.
Oh yeah, Married with Children kicked it off, and The Simpsons. So
it branched out from the Tracy Ullman show.
Married with Children was Larry and Magic, and then The Simpsons was Michael Jordan.
I remember it all emanated from one little animated sketch on the Tracy Ullman show. Mm. That's how it started. My gosh, billions later.
That's how Office Space started. Little skit with Lumber going, yeah. No, Darren, Seinfeld was the 90s. Definitely the 90s show with Friends. There's only a problem with Seinfeld, and it's the same problem with Larry David and Curb, is I don't like their voices. It actually bothers me. I can't listen to Seinfeld or Larry David too long. Their whining voices drive me up the wall. I can't handle it. That's why I never really got into those shows as much.
Well, once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Joe, you've been a trooper, taking on the chin tonight with all the drinks.
It's the nightcap. I'll put a button on this.
Okay. Well, you
So,
told me to put a button on it.
I know,
so
but it's not.
I'll unbutton it and throw the button at you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, but it just came to my head that I gotta close this out. So, folks, again, I want to thank you all for being here. Gerald, thank you for being here. It's been a good couple of shows here today. I wasn't expecting to show up on either one, but I'm glad I did. But if you guys, I hope you enjoyed the show, even the little off the kilt discussions. But you all know the Nightcap is like that. If you have any comments, any questions, please email us.
Like and subscribe, please.
Like and subscribe. And we've gotten a lot, this time of year, we get a lot more activity. Keep it going. Yeah. Intel, thank you for filling Gerald's bank account. That's where that money goes.
Well, when we get large enough, it's going to fill hopefully all of
ours. Right. And with that, again, if you have any comments, any questions, even though some of you ask and comments questions that make us want to tear our laptops off our desks, I don't care how many you send. Keep them coming. You can reach us at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. If you guys want to talk to me directly, my Aussie crew has been hitting me up a lot more lately, and
so was Cool Bro.
And Cool Bro hit me up, although I ignored him. You can hit me up at on X with Joe Soro LFB. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, I'm Sinblades_turf. And if you guys want to reach me on Facebook, I'm known as Johnny Blade with the Punisher logo. And for that, thank you all for being here tonight. Some of you have been late. Some of you guys are across the world. Thank you for being here in the morning, afternoon, evening. Have a good night. Have a great 4th of July. Yes. And until next time, I'll see you next time.